the scanners say about their power level?
Ezreal, shut up with the memes for fuck's sakes. I sense an imminent threat coming our way.
Thought so.
I am Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, your senior drill instructor. From now on, you will speak only when spoken to. And the first and last words out of your filthy sewers will be, sir. You are the lowest form of life on Earth. You are not even human fucking being. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit. Do you maggots understand that?
Sir, yes, sir.
Bullshit, I can't hear you.
Sir, yes, sir.
Well, that sucked. I really need to be more careful for those. Wait, this is not how I start these videos. This is how I start these videos. Hit it!
Go. Baby, can you move around the rhythm so we can get with and turn around and get us a rock and roll round? What's down, down, body, body, coming with the super hottie, let's go. No, slow, hell no. Baby, can you move around the rhythm cause you know I'm living in the fast lane, speed up, it ain't no game. Just turn up all the beams when I come upon the best scene. Hey, brother, what you thinking? That good old sound is ringing. They don't know what they're missing.
Well, hello! Name's Strike. Welcome to another episode of Champions of the Rift, the show where I give you all the information I can find about a League of Legends champion while trying to make you laugh. This time, we're taking a look at Ezreal, the prodigal explorer. So without further ado, let's arcane shift right into it. Well, before anything starts, I just want to apologize for two things real quickly. First, the video is a bit later than planned, I know, but I got sick while the whole coronavirus thing reached our country, so I was scared for a couple of days. Second apology, every clip of Pulsefire Ezreal in this video has its skill set bugged, glitch, whatever. Either way, they're invisible in the replay that I used to get footage for this video. I would complain about it, but I understand that as a small multi-billion-dollar company with only over 200 plus years on collective game design, Riot Games has something more to worry about than this. So Ezreal's lore is pretty cool actually. He was born and raised in a wealthy neighborhood of Piltover. He was a curious child and his parents were famous archaeologists, so they were rarely home. Ezreal fantasized about going with them on their travels and adventures, and he loved hearing the tales of the world outside, waiting to be explored. He hoped that one day he could fill every blank space on every map. He was often being taken care of by his uncle, that went by the name of Professor Lemire? What the fuck?
Lemire.
Oh, so Lemire found Ezreal as a rash and disruptive child, so he would often assign the strictest tutors to teach him advanced cardiography and other 500 IQ Rick and Morty type shit. However, the boy had a special talent for absorbing information and found it all pretty boring and a waste of time. He would spend most of his days invading Lemire's university and sneaking in where he could for his lovely amusement. As Ezreal grew older, the time between his parents grew longer and longer, until one time they didn't return at all, and Lemire accepted the fact that they most likely had died. Of course Ezreal didn't believe this, and thought that his parents had planned too well for that to happen, and they were still out there. He shortly after ran away in search for his parents' most ambitious expedition, the resting place of Nazook, a Shuriman tyrant who could jump from one place to another in a blink of an eye. With a few supplies from the university, including a pair of protective goggles, and a farewell note to his uncle, Ezreal took off. He followed his mother's field notes and faced everything from underground ruins to unspeakable horrors that guarded hidden chambers. He didn't stop at any place and was always on the move for the next one, with every step making him feel closer to his parents' path. He eventually managed to go where his parents had not, uncovering the tomb of Nazook and obtaining a bronze gauntlet with a bright crystalline matrix on the center. The tomb started to collapse the second he did this, and with the newly found gauntlet humming along with his heartbeat, Ezreal blasted walls and teleported himself out of there as fast as he could. After that, he returned to Piltover, and shortly after he continued going on his adventures and visiting places that people like Lemire could only read on maps. He started to make a name for himself, and although he didn't really care for it at first, it gave him an idea. If he could become the greatest adventurer in the world, then surely his parents would seek him out. Now Ezreal roams around Runeterra chasing fame and glory, uncovering long lost artifacts and solving the riddles of history. Some people do complain about his methods and his stories though, but he never answers them. After all, they're clearly just jealous. Now, how is Ezreal in-game? Well, he's Ezreal. He's the skillshot based ADC. He's the Korean favorite. He's the all-skill pentakill, what a thrill, JK, it's all chill, Dr. Phil, I have Dunning-Kruger syndrome. No, but seriously, this champion is probably the one who has been through more changes to his build and playstyle than anyone I've ever seen in 6 years of playing this game. We've had the Smite mid Ezreal, the jungle Ezreal, the support Ezreal, the normal mid Ezreal, the classic blue build Ezreal, the AP Ezreal, the AD Ezreal, the klepto moneymaker Ezreal, the hybrid Ezreal, the double tier Ezreal, and there's probably more. Those are just the ones that I can remember from the top of my head. But honestly, is he broken? Not really. I mean, sure, the Smite mid Ezreal can suck 10 dicks, but I don't think he's ever been extremely overpowered besides that. Which is why I think he's so fun and so many people like him. But I'll talk on that later. Let's get on with the abilities. So Ezreal's passive is Rising Spell Force. Every time Ezreal hits an enemy unit with an ability, he gains 10% bonus attack speed that stacks up to 5 times and lasts for 6 seconds. Yep, that's it. Get used to it, boys and girls, cause all of his abilities are pretty simple and short. So this passive is actually pretty nice in laning phase. It helps with trading, taking down towers, farming, and it just feels really nice overall. In the late game it doesn't do as much, but it can still be useful in some situations. Ezreal's Q is Mystic Shot, and it's his bread, butter, jam, peanut butter, jelly, and fucking toaster. He fires a bolt of energy in a line that deals physical damage to the first enemy hit. It also scales a decent bit with AP and it procs on hit effects. The healing is also off lifesteal instead of spell vamp. On top of all this, there's the cream of the crop. Oh yeah. If Mystic Shot hits an enemy unit, then the cooldown of all of Ezreal's abilities, including Mystic Shot, get reduced by 1.5 seconds. This ability is pretty damn good. In fact, I believe it's one of the best abilities in League of Legends. It rewards good players who can hit it consistently. It doesn't give you a shield for walking, or an ability for farming, or insane base stats for playing the fucking game. Yeah. If you hit it, you get rewarded. If you don't, tough luck. It's just a really nice ability overall. Ezreal's W is Essence Flux. He fires an orb that sticks to the first enemy champion, epic monster, or structure it hits for 4 seconds. If you hit the target with a damaging ability or a basic attack, it detonates the orb and deals magic damage that also scales with bonus AD. If you pop the orb with an ability, it also refunds its cost and restores 60 mana. Another simple ability. The old Essence Flux, for those that do remember it, was the worst, but at the same time more fun ability. I remember the days when I first started playing this game and I would pull out the Civ HE special and one-shot an entire team with a single rotation from my spells. Those were the good days. Anyway, this is still a pretty nice ability. It helps you take out Dragon and Baron faster, you shred towers like cheese in the late game, and you can do insane amounts of damage when you blow the orb on an enemy with your Q and your E. It has become an essential part of Ezreal's kit and isn't just something that you throw for shits and giggles. Arcane Shift is Ezreal's E. He blinks to a target location and fires a homing bolt that deals magic damage to the nearest enemy. It also scales decently with AD, and additionally, if someone has the Essence Flux orb on them, then Arcane Shift will prioritize it. So if someone asks what defines Ezreal, the combination of this ability and his Q is the answer every time. Specifically in teamfights. You become a solo carrying machine that can non-stop shoot energy blasts that do 1/3 of the enemy's HP from 500 miles. And if you get close to them, he dashes away and keeps shooting. That's Ezreal, and it's awesome. For you, that is. For the enemies, it feels worse than that time the boys are roasting you for a joke, but it's low-key starting to hurt. Ezreal's ultimate is True Shot Barrage. Ezreal fires an energy projectile in the target direction, revealing the area it passes through and dealing magic damage to enemies it hits. Minions and non-epic monsters take reduced 50% damage, and the AD scaling of this ability is actually better than the AP one. Overall, and surprisingly, there's not much to say about this ability compared to the rest. It's a global skill shot that you use to snipe the enemies from across the map, get 5 stacks of your passive really fast, clear waves, or just nuke the enemy at the start of a fight. Unlike Jinx or Ashe, this ult will not stop after hitting an enemy, so try and hit as many people as you can for maximum efficiency. So what should you max first? Well, I max Q first because, well, it's just too good to pass up. Second, I max E because the cooldown of your dash still decreases with level, and maxing W doesn't really do anything at all. Plus, the damage is really nice. Third, I max W because, well, I have to, And lastly, I max ult. So, Ezreal is one of the best reworks in League. Riot Games has been making some pretty fucked up champions lately that make me want to chuggle a bottle of bleach or go to the Chinese neighbors next door and start insulting them so they spit on me. But the reworks are really good. Champions like Morgana, Pantheon, and Nunu have gotten their deserved respect. And the upcoming Fiddlesticks one is looking amazing. Like, what the actual fuck? They've kept the original feel of the characters and they made sure the abilities that make them who they are don't change. Ezreal is another example of this. They gave him a much needed all around rework with better voice lines, a way better model, clean abilities, and other things that I couldn't bother searching up. They didn't change his kit massively, they didn't overly nerf and buff him, they didn't change his personality, they just made him better. Okay, so I've talked about Ezreal a lot, but how do you play him? So, in the early game you want to play like a giant pussy. Sorry, I meant safe. Ezreal has a really weak laning phase, weaker than maybe every ADC in the game. Since he depends on his abilities to do damage, but his Q and E can get cucked by minions, and his W is just an empower to those abilities, the best you can do is farm, get your tier, and start spamming your ability so you stack it. There's really not much to it. The best tip I can give you besides that is to only use your dash to run away, and when you're sure you're gonna get a kill on the enemy by doing so. In the mid game, it depends on how your Triforce and your Muramana stacks are doing. If you have both of them, then you have reached your power spike and can start committing mass genocide. If not, then try and stall the game and play safe until you get it stacked. In the late game, there's gonna be a lot of team fights, so you're gonna need to learn how to wave your auto attacks between your abilities so you get the max amount of damage done. The reason for this being is that in late game teamfights, it's really hard for Ezreal to reach ADC with his abilities. So you're gonna have to deal with the tankier people in front of you, or even the assassins, and everyone is decently tanky, so you won't kill them with just a few Qs. Now, I would give you guys some tips and tricks about Ezreal, but unfortunately he doesn't really have any. He's pretty simple when it comes to how to play. You just Q, Q, W, Q, Q, E, ult, Q, Q, and so forth. The only two things I can teach you that you might not know is that 1. Ezreal's dash has a small cast time, so you can flash during that small window and cover a huge distance while doing your E damage. 2. The second you use your ult, it will be sent from that direction no matter what. So if you're running away from someone, you can ult and flash away, getting a kind of invisible ult out. For builds on Ezreal, I start with either a Doran's Blade for normal matchups or a Doran's Shield for tougher matchups. After that, I get a tier as fast as I can and then a Sheen. I finish the tier into Muramana and then Sheen into a Triforce. And after that, then I get a Blade of the Ruined King. Also, don't forget the CDR boots. And that's pretty much the core build. Now, before I continue with the items, I have a secret trick that I use on Ezreal currently that I'm gonna tell you guys, but you have to promise to like and subscribe, okay? Okay, so in Champ Select, if I notice they have multiple AP characters, I choose my secondary runes as inspiration, more specifically Boots and Cosmic Insight. The reason for this is that I always go Maul of Mol Mortius, which allows me to reach 45% CDR on Ezreal, which is really nice. On matchups where they don't have a lot of AP champions, I take my secondary tree as Sorcery, and I go Transcendence with Mana Ring, because you can get 40% CDR that way. Okay, now that we got that covered, other items besides that are a Last Whisper item, Frozen Mallet, Guardian Angel, Mercurial Scimitar if you want to go AD Ezreal, which is the optimal one at the moment. If you want to go the AP items after the core, you can go Ludens, Rabadons, Hextech, Gunblade, and even Void Staff. Just remember to get the AP penetration boots instead. You can also go the blue Ezreal build, which is just switching the Triforce for an Ice Spartan Gauntlet. It can help against a heavy AD team, so remember that next time a Draven appears in your Champ Select. For runes, you can currently take two main ones, and those are Conqueror and Lethal Tempo. If the enemy has a lot of champs that can jump on you, then Conqueror is the best, since you're not going to be able to auto-attack much and you need to spam abilities from far away. Lethal Tempo is better against a more tanky team that allows you to get a lot of Muramana autos on top of your abilities. For matchups, don't mess with Draven, Tristana, Misfortune, or any other aggressive ADC, since they will run you down like the dog you are in the early game. So you're best waiting for your jungler and farming for late game. Supports like Leona can be pretty annoying, so be careful for those as well. Easier matchups are Vayne and Sivir, since they also scale and it's possible to kick them around a bit in the right situation. For skins we have Ezreal, Blue Build Ezreal the skin, Elf Ezreal, Gay, The Council Will Decide Your Fate Ezreal, Emo Ezreal, Game Boy Ezreal, Fuck Your Replays Ezreal, Simp Ezreal, Football Kick W Ezreal, and we all know where this is going, Ezreal. And that's Ezreal. A pretty fun champion, but also a really complicated one. If you're looking for an ADC that can carry a game single-handedly and you have the skill to do so, then try him out. You might just have found your new main. Well everybody, I'm gonna end that here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please consider hitting the like button. And as always, if you know something that I don't, please feel free to tell me in the comments. My name is Traiku, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
I'm a superhuman, trying to be a superhuman, superhuman.